Hey everyone, good evening to all. Hello, learning development. Hi Anjali, hi Ramchandra. Hello, guys. I'm audible and visible to you all. Just give me a heads up in the chat, please. Hello, uh, hi, guys. I'm audible to you all. Good evening, Sharma. Hi, guys. Give me a yes or no in the chat, or give a thumbs up in the chat if I'm audible to you all clearly. If my voice is clear. Hello, perfectly audible. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you for your confirmation. So my name is Anam Khan. I'm one of the team member at Let's Upgrade, and I'm here just to launch the session to explain you all about the attendance part, how to get your certificate, and about this boot camp. So we are starting with 3 days SQL boot camp, which will be a 1.5 hour session each day, and you will be getting the certificate for it. But when the program ends, when we will complete this bootcamp, this 3 days of bootcamp, so you can get the certificate download from the link where you will mark your attendance. So for the attendance thing also, I will share, let you know all in a 2 to 3 minutes. Let's wait for some time to all others to join in, and then we can chit chat till then in the chat. If you guys have any doubt, any queries to ask from us, please feel free to ask in the chat. The team will reply you all. And related to the bootcamp, related to the SQL part, the trainer is there to help you out. The trainer is Gaurav Deep sir. He will be there with you throughout these 3 days, and you can ask him your doubts, clear your whatever thing is there, you can ask him freely. Yes, doubt. Okay, what is your doubt? You can ask us in the chat. And guys, please make sure that you call your friends, your family members who are like family cousin, whoever is interested to learn SQL. So you can call him or her. I'm not pretty sure. Do I need any? No, you do not need any prerequisite, as we will start with the very basic part, a very basic thing. So you do not need to know any prerequisite or anything. Power BI, you want Power BI bootcamp? Okay, we will surely schedule it in the upcoming months, maybe March or April. So for the February, the calendar is already fixed. So and you can know about our bootcamps. You can go to our website, that is letsupgrade.in, and get to know about it. The upcoming bootcamps project. Yes, we will try to solve a small project. So do not worry about it. By on the day 3, when you will learn all the basics and advanced, so we'll move to the project. So I think we can go ahead, and I will share my screen with you all to know the attendance part. So is my screen is visible to you all, guys? DSA using Python, but okay, but we have already DSA with C++ coming on Thursday, so you can enroll for that bootcamp. Guys, is my screen visible to you all? Just give me a thumbs up in the chat, or yes or no in the chat. Yes. Okay, thank you guys. So guys, here in the description box, here you can see registration, attendance, LU coins, certificate. You can see this one link. We call it as a one link, as everything is placed in this one page itself, where you can mark your attendance, enroll in the bootcamp, get the certificate, download, and everything. Okay, so you first of all, you need to mark your sorry, enroll for this program. If you haven't, I have already enrolled, so it's not asking me to enroll. And when you enroll, then only you will get to see this mark attendance toggle. So below this day 1 title, you can click on this mark attendance toggle. Here is a rating scale on 1 to 10. You can rate it according to yourself. If you want to give please try to mark your attendance post session, so that you can give us a honest feedback, honest rating on this session, like how your day 1 went, how what did you like, what did you not. So you can fill it honestly. For now, I will give 10 on 10, and here is a feedback box. If you have any feedback for us, be it positive, negative, you can fill it here. For now, I will give nothing and mark my attendance. Okay, so when I mark my attendance, here the progress bar will increase. It will increase day by day as you mark your attendance on day 2 and day 3. Now it is 33 on day 3, it will be 100%, so that you can get the certificate generated. Okay, so on day 3, when the program will end, you will get to see in this screen itself, below the progress bar, generate certificate option, so you can download your certificate from there. Okay, and anything else, we have this communities also, like Discord and WhatsApp community. You can join us there to get regular updates, daily invites, and session reminders, upcoming bootcamps reminder. We post there every day. so you get to get in touch with, like, you know about what upcoming bootcamps is Let's Upgrade hosting. Okay, so also we have this student ambassador program, which is a 1 month free program. You need not pay any free fee, any charge, nothing is there to pay. Just enroll in this, apply for this ambassador program, where you will also get, when you achieve certain target, there is a certain target. When you achieve it you will get, we have certificates, gold, silver, bronze. So based on the target you will get to generate those, you will get certificates and swags also. So we are also distributing this prizes: iPad, gaming chair, smartwatch, earbuds, many more things are there. So it's similar, like, when you achieve those target you will get unlock each of the items. Okay, and also we distribute, we give away coupons there, 10,000 ka coupons and 5,000 ka coupons if you, based on the workshops. Also there is exclusive workshops we host. So yeah, you will get to know more about it. The next batch is starting from in more 4 days, that is on 1st Feb. So you can enroll for the next batch which is starting from 1st Feb. So yeah, if you have any queries regarding that, you can ask us here or join the community to clear your doubts. Okay, and also guys, we have this all-in-one documentation. When you will go onto this link, a Notion page will open where you can find enrollment link, attendance link, also the resources which sir will share. We will upload all the things here, so you can find all the resources, all the links, and everything here in one page itself. So no need to go anywhere here and there. We have also uploaded, like, how to install MySQL on Ubuntu and commands. The SQL installation link and everything is there, and these are the session links. Also we have prepared notes for you people, so you can refer it in your future anytime when you will need it. But one thing is that you cannot download this PDF document, but you can save this link and refer anytime. So you can find all the resources, all the links in this one Notion doc. Okay, there is no enrollment fees, there is no charges. Everything is free. Just apply. Our team will connect with you shortly. I have, you can ask your doubt in the chat. We are here to help you. And also we have uploaded, shared all the links in the description box to install MySQL and practice SQL online. Everything is there. So yeah, do not spam again and again for, here in the chat for that. And also for the certificate, the certificate will unlock on day 3 of SQL bootcamp. So yeah, for now just mark your attendance and attend the lectures regularly. Field score, you can put your 12th ka or 10th ka marks also. There we have option also, like to a score, or in score you can put your 10 12 ka marks. How to put attendance, just now I've explained you about that. You can rewind the video and get to know how to mark your attendance. So I think I have cleared all your doubts, and we have Gaurav Deep sir who will be there with you. So I'll call him in on stage, and let's start with the session. So hi sir, good evening.
Hello, good evening, ma'am. Hello and hi to everyone. I
So
hope
how are
my
you,
voice.
sir?
Yeah, I am good, ma'am. How are you doing?
I'm also good, sir. So we can start with the session, like giving them a brief about what are we going to learn in the next 3 days, and so that they also have some ideas and everything. So yeah, you can start with the session, and I will take a leave now. So session is all yours. Thank you, sir. Bye,
Sure,
everyone. Bye,
sure.
sir.
Welcome. Bye. All right. So, welcome to everyone. I hope you all are doing great and you're pretty much excited about what's going to come in. So, firstly, my name is Gaurav Deep, and I'll be your host and mentor for the next 3 days. Yes, this is a 3-day boot camp, as it has been pretty cleared. Maximum it could be of 90 minutes of a session, not more. It won't stretch beyond 8 p.m. uh, the things that we'll be learning in these 3 days, it's totally about how SQL works, right? Now we will talk about basically the database, what it is supposed to do, and as a computer engineer or a computer science enthusiast, how does it impact your learning curve, and what is the importance of data, and why SQL is so important. We will learn about installing or setting up MySQL. We will understand what's the difference between uh, SQL and MySQL. We will understand how it is different from different programming languages. We will cover some general aspects of the database, especially talking about the SQL, how we can uh, add data, manage or manipulate the data which is available with us, how we can do data analysis over it, how we can use data in different pipelines, and we will learn everything in depth with the hands-on. So I think that's the premise that we are setting up for you now. I'll quickly share up the very first thing that I want you all to do today at the very start of the session is installing the SQL server, right? Okay. Now, we will not deviate from the topic of SQL, but the SQL, but I think it is very important for every one of us to understand what is a server and how it is hosted. So currently we will be running SQL Server on our local database. But if I put it in very simple terms, uh, suppose there is a computer. It could be as simple as your laptop, could be a desktop, or could be a server sized machine. See, the only difference between a PC and a server is a difference in components. uh, the PC could go max till the gaming level. You can go till the RTX 4090 5090 graphic cards. You can go for i7, you can go for maybe like that's, or i9, right? That's the commercially PC grade level components. But if you go to server, this is where the machines get more powerful. You get Nvidia's A6000s, H100, such type of uh, graphic cards. You get such type of motherboards. You get such type of processors, such as a Xeon, or could be the AMD EPIC series. These are processors, motherboards, RAM. Same thing what your PC does, but at a stronger level. Fortunately, we don't need to understand what servers are. I told you we won't deviate much, but we will be hosting one SQL server on our local PC. There is no as such hard and fast requirement of a laptop that you should carry. Anything even as simple as i3 with 8 or 16 GB RAM, or even i5 with 8 16 GB RAM is decent enough to start this learning curve, right? Now, as people were asking in the chat, that is there any prerequisite that I should know, or is there any mandate that okay, this type of knowledge is necessary? No, there is no such category required. If you are more than capable to hold this mouse and use it as per your choice and understand how an operating system will work for you, more than enough. If you're computer literate, that's what we need, right? All right. So I'll be thoroughly active with you in the chat, because that's how I see we build relation. This is none less than a friendly talk or a communication, right? Let us not pull it like a mentor and student session, right? There will be strictly a friendly tone. There will be strictly a manner in which we will bound ourselves into just learning in a very friendly environment, right? Nothing beyond that. So I'll keep that. Okay. So lecture will be available on channel after live or not? Yes, of course the lectures will be available on the channel, right? But try to stick into the live, because live is the only place where you get opportunity to ask questions, right? And that's definitely there, right? You can follow me on LinkedIn if you want. We can definitely talking about potential internships if there are any. I will be more than happy to help you, right? Okay, can we use Microsoft SQL Server for this book 10? Yeah, we can use anything. In fact, I'll also tell you that you need not even install something. I'll help you with that. But the first thing that I want you to do on the very first step that you will take in this class is you will go to the link which is provided to you. It is in your PDF, the all-in-one documents, or even in the description of this YouTube video, you'll be able to find the link to devmysql.com downloads, right? I'll just simply take you over there. Now this is very important, students. Carefully just go over there and try to reach this point. Okay. Now for people who want my LinkedIn profile, I'll just simply tell you that you can simply search here GAURAVLOTEY. That's my name. If you just click over here, GAURAVLOTEY. Now this is recorded in this session. Whoever wants it, you can just go back and take it from here. All right, dash 037. Now coming back, we will proceed further. Now, I told you that this is the page where you want to go and start your download, right? So the very first thing is that if you are using any Linux based such as Debian, Fedora, or Ubuntu based systems, mostly it will be Linux generic or Ubuntu systems that people use. You can click over here. You can get the DEV bundle or DEV package through which you can proceed with the installation. I'll recommend that using the bundle, or I've given you the commands which I personally tested out, and that's the way you can install even through the CMD. Now, the next thing is if you are using macOS, I'll recommend simply to go with the DMG file, and this should serve your purpose. Coming back to Windows, right? If you are going to install it on Windows, please carefully look. There is a go to download page. This is very important, students. Please pay your keen attention that we need to go to download page, because we need an MSI installer, right? Now, from here, let the version be 8.0.41. No issues, not at all. I'll just simply repeat that if you follow this link, okay, I'll just copy this link once again for everyone. And if you go to this link, which is given to you in the description, if you select Windows and go to download a page, this is where you will end up with the 32-bit MSI installer, 352.2 MB, and I'll just simply click on download. Now, it asks me to log in or sign up for a free account, but I don't need that. No thanks. Just start my download. If you can see this command right over here, this is what we want to do. So I'll just download without login or sign up. And as you can see, the MSI installer has started downloading. Depending upon your internet speed, you will be able to achieve this download, right? So the only grid that I had to motivate you to download this was to make sure that even people with low internet or lower speed of internet should be able to download this file till the time we are done with the introduction to SQL, right? So, that's the primary agenda of it. Now, let us shift to the presentation mode where we can talk about the SQL a little bit, right? So, all right. So if we begin, we will talk about what is SQL to begin with, right? See, it is okay to term it like a structured query language, a type of a programming language. You can say it like that. But what is SQL to begin with, right? So, okay. So the session is maximum till 8 p.m., not more than that. And what type of okay, we'll cover all of these doubts which you're asking in the questions, right? That's completely fine. Yeah. So now if we proceed, so first of all, imagine that how the computers have evolved, right? See, uh, beyond 80s, before 80s, right? 80s and 90s, I don't even see a proper use case of a computer, right? Because there was no evolution at that point. So forget the digital generation. We are the digital generation, because people who are still under 30, uh, or even under 40, I will say, we are the working force who have seen the computers come into picture, right? So what happened is, but even before our era, even in our grandfather's generation, or maybe a generation back, or you can trace back to uh, whatever generation you want, even to Mohan Harappa civilization point, we still used to understand economics. We still used to understand how to use data. Statistics is something that India has major contribution in this field, right? So you can scroll back wherever you want. The point is that data always existed. Now data can help you drive decisions, right? For example, suppose any political party wants to understand that what type of narratives they want to spread to make sure that the people are in their favor of voting. Such decisions come from data. Like, what is the current running trend? What is something that I do to get popular? Is something that comes from the analysis of data, right? We have to collect data at each and every point depending upon our need, right? So this is where the necessity of any database comes into picture. Earlier these things were done on pen paper, starting from stone and a charcoal. It shifted to pen and paper, pencil and paper, then came pens, and now we are into the digital world, right? So the point is that data is growing at such an exponential stage that it became a necessity to build something, build software, uh, build a product that can help you manage your data well, right? So that's where SQL comes into picture, and this is one of the oldest type of, like, few of the old but still legit type of database that has a strong hold into the generation, right? So which is why, it's still most popular. Now, I'll tell you the importance of SQL. Why SQL is considered so important is, despite, newer databases have launched over the years, like we were introduced to NoSQL. I'll definitely talk about what is difference between SQL and NoSQL also. We were introduced to the graph databases, and more databases keep on evolving, but still SQL has a huge domination in the market, is only because of the initial monopoly that SQL was able to generate. So when SQL was invented, all big companies, could be like Samsung, Sony, or any giant company, tech companies who are much into the space, they were either using MySQL or Oracle databases. And now in this generation, there will be a huge amount of migration cost which will go if we want to shift from NoSQL, from SQL to SQL, SQL to NoSQL. So which is why these companies will not migrate, right? So SQL is still quite valid and hugely dominant amount of database which is there in the market. But again, it completely depends upon your use case, whether what you're solving. Now, the trend is also shifting a lot with the NoSQL, but SQL has its dominance when it comes to structured data, and which is why it is named as structured query language. Okay. So first of all, let us understand one thing. Okay, let us understand, if I give you a recipe book, a book of recipes which can help you create different type of uh, dishes, right? So in itself, that recipe book is not a physical kitchen or an entity, right? It is just methods. It is just a type of a language which helps you understand how you can create a recipe. But in order to create that recipe, you need to actually have a kitchen. So which is where the difference between the PostgreSQL, MySQL, and SQL comes into picture. SQL is all like a concept. SQL is like a type of language, set of rules, set of the different principles that you can use to talk to a structured query. Like, how can you query a structured table? That's what SQL teaches you. SQL is nothing more than a query language. It is a type of a programming language which can help you query structured tables. So Postgre, MySQL, these are physical softwares which are developed over SQL. Okay. So if I have to work with a database, SQL in itself is not a database. SQL is a concept, and the products which are based on these concepts are Postgre or MySQL, right? Different companies bringing in their products, but the same thing at the end. So that's where the SQL is, right? We can imagine like a giant library. That's the vanilla example when it comes to explaining someone what SQL is. So it's not just books. It has so much of information, like customer records, who took this book, who will return this book when, the financial transactions, right? Maybe the library can buy new books. There could be medical records, there could be electricity bills. So a library could have so many different components to deal with, despite the major component being managing the sections of the books or the library's collection, right? So everything like this could be compiled into a database. Okay. So this is about what a database is all about, and how we can talk to the database. That's where our SQL comes into picture, right? So this is a very strong premise that I've set for you, uh, that should help you understand that what we are dealing with and why it is so important. Okay. All right. So with this being said, it helps us manage database structures efficiently. That's what SQL is good at. And SQL is very much needed as a essential package on your resume, as an essential skill on your resume, if you are working as database administrator, if you are working to data analysis, if you are a developer, full stack, backend, be it, because any developer, if they do not know from where to take the data and how to talk to the database, they are not good developers for any fit condition, right? All right. So, with that being said, let us understand how SQL works. So, SQL is all about the tables, right? So, what does a table mean? We can simply take in an Excel sheet in our example, right? So, Excel sheet is nothing but it contains rows and columns. Okay. Now, before we proceed, some of your doubts, because I encourage you all to put in the doubts. So, people are currently the most common doubt is like, can you explain SQL and exam platform? So, देखो, exam is nothing but a complete server package. Okay, it is like a complete server package which includes your database management systems like SQL. Okay, and many other things. Whereas SQL is just one single component. Okay, so exam is a complete package that you install on a server. Okay, it's an the best part is free and open source, which is why it is very popular and common, right? So maybe like if your SQL is a fridge, so your examp is the complete kitchen. It has oven, it has grill, it has dishwasher and other components also. Okay, so that's what examp is all about. I hope that that covers. Yes. So coming back, I think those are the primary doubts we have, right? Okay. So we go back to understanding tables. So we can take about any Excel sheet, Google spreadsheet, which contains rows, right, and columns. So what happens is that SQL is exactly based on it, but let us say a table, an Excel sheet on steroids, right? That's the crazy level at which the data can be stored. See, Excel has a limitation: 10 lakh rows and some millions of rows. Apart from that point, it starts breaking, right? It cannot go beyond that. Whereas SQL is much more a strong and rigid platform to handle even like larger data points from there, right? Yes. So someone was also asking about NoSQL, but I think that I have lost that comment. So you can ask it again if at any point you want something about it. MongoDB, someone was asking. So let us go back and understand a little bit more on this tables. So firstly, on your screen, you should be able to see a table that I have designed for you. So there are certain columns, right? Like order ID, product, total, customer ID. This is table one. Another table could be the first name, last name, age, country, and the ID. We will talk about, but for now, let us just take this as an example. Okay, what exactly is a table to begin with? The table has rows and columns. Okay, so SQL can help you get answers from your data. Suppose if I want to find a specific book, okay, show me all the books by Stephen King, right? If I want that, so I can, if I have a table which has a column by the name of author, so I can run a query that find all the rows where the author name is equal to Stephen King. Okay, so I can pass this. It can help me organize my data well. Okay, suppose I want to organize today the data by based on uh, maybe the books which have less than 100 pages should go in rack 1, which is not a good way to sort it, but could be done, right? Books which are 100 to 500 pages in rack 2, 500 plus pages books in rack 3. I'll have to simply write a query in the SQL which will say that if book page length, page count is less than equal to 100, then do this. If greater than 100 but less than equal to 500, then do that, else do that. So, okay, based on that if else we can do that. Sorry, but isn't this same as Excel where we also interact with the data? Yes, of course it is same as Excel, but the benefit here, as I mentioned, is that Excel has its own limitations, whereas SQL is much more powerful. Excel is never meant to work with big data, right? Or the industry grade of data. It is made more like a commercial product for maybe people in their day-to-day lives. Could be secretaries, could be the managements, could be different key players in the company. SQL, the Excel or the spreadsheets are commercial products at that level. But when it comes to corporate or the industry level of data storing, which is where SQL comes into picture. Second thing is Excel. Or your spreadsheets are GUI based applications, more friendly for non-programming people, whereas SQL has the power where you can run queries if you know the language and fit it into your different programming applications, right? Yes. Okay. uh, Unfortunately, there is no light mode at this point. The slides are little dark for this level. Okay, let us take it from there. Yes. So apart from it, in our library we can also add new books, so there should be a provision to add uh, add the books, update the books, delete the records. So someone is saying, if I can somehow hide the recording logo, unfortunately sorry, I think that's the GUI of the YouTube and there's nothing much we can do about it. Moving ahead, we will talk about few important things, right? See, which I told you that hold your horses, we will be talking about everything. So now comes a slide where we will talk about SQL versus no SQL. Okay. Yes. All right. Now if we go to this discussion, the earlier premise which I've set you, which is why do we need a database, I think that should be clear by now, that database is needed to store your data. So then what is SQL versus no SQL? So first of all, the difference in uh, the term in which they store data, right? So the difference is that SQL use a structured manner, which is like tables, right? Which has columns, could be like name, age, city, and then rows which explain the name, age, city row wise for each data object. Okay. So but NoSQL uses an unstructured approach. If you are familiar with the JSON or Python dictionary, hash maps, key values, or graph data, how they look like, uh, then you understand what unstructured is. We store that. Whereas SQL strictly follows table column uh, format only. Okay. So even if certain key values are missing for an object, suppose if you are putting a data for a person but you do not know their age, you will still have to mention age as null. Okay. Whereas NoSQL gives you the benefit of being dynamic in that nature. NoSQL doesn't has a structured approach, because at the end you don't need to make sure that uh, every data point has equal number of keys or values. No, that is managed only in SQL. SQL has a very strict rule of being structured. That is its DNA. The DNA of SQL is that structuring is must. Okay, so if you have data in your tabular fashion, so there is no debate that should you use SQL or not. Okay, but if your data is non-tabular or semi-structured, could be in a lot of cases where you use machine learning applications like NLP, computer vision, like you have data of images, you have data of speech or audio data, uh, video graphs, photo images graphs, things like that. Or maybe like the data is dynamic in nature. Today you have 10 key values, tomorrow you could have 15 key values. So in that way, of course, NoSQL is important where structure is not very well defined. But if a structure is defined, that is where the structured query language or SQL are much more powerful for you. And I've mentioned the data type, that's SQL can handle only structured data, whereas NoSQL is flexible in that terms. So schemas, I'll talk about a schema also, but NoSQL basically is a no schema based database, whereas SQL is the rigid schema based thing, right? Whereas scalability, I think both are pretty well scalable to me at this point. Okay, there's no debate about it. So people, you are again asking what's the difference between SQL and MySQL. I think I have covered this part previously. If I keep on repeating this in loop, it will be difficult to complete it by 8 p.m. But again, SQL is like a concept, a query language, whereas MySQL is actually a product which is based on SQL. Okay. For example, if I teach you the programming fundamentals, then I'm teaching you what SQL is. But if I'm teaching you Python, or if I'm teaching you C++, then I'm teaching you an actual language, actual product, actual software, actual language which is based on those programming concepts. So SQL is nothing but a query concepting, like it's a theory part. SQL is nothing but a theory part of how a structured query language should work. Whereas no, whereas MySQL is an actual physical product which uses SQL as that query language part. Okay. Okay. Now we will come to schema. Yes, people are wondering what a schema is. Okay. So let us talk about it. I'll just quickly go back to my slide on this table. Okay, there are two different tables that you see over here. One is the customer table, the other is the order table. I'll talk about schema now. Okay, so schema is nothing but designing your structure in which you will store the data, the structure in which you will be able to map your different tables to each other, and how your overall design will look like of the database. So mostly this is done by senior people, like senior developers. They help you in schema designing. It requires a thorough analysis of your problem that you are solving. It requires complete domain knowledge. There should be crystal clear approach that what exactly is your data. You should know it very well uphand. Okay, that if I am building something for uh, e-commerce company, then maybe this example is fit. Okay. What does this company wants to store? Firstly, they want to store customer information such as first name, last name, age, and the country from where they are ordering. Okay. Secondly, they want to store the orders, what product we have and how much quantity was it ordered, and okay, this type of data. Now schema designing is segregating and creating meaningful tables. Okay, so if you see, if I create a table by the name of orders, but if I keep the age and country of the people who are also ordering it, it is not a very well designed schema, right? So schema is more like an artwork. Okay, there's no one correct way to reach at it. It is more like from your experience you build some schema based on your experience कि ठीक है. What I believe is that maybe product total, the name of the product and the quantity of the product, uh, and the order ID, I'll store it in a table by the name of orders. This is one schema. Then you will have to define basically. So each table should be designed in a way that there should be at least one primary key. So what is a primary key? Let us understand this also now. So primary key is a unique identifier for each row. Okay. For example, in the orders table, we believe that order ID should be the primary key. What does it mean? That if you look at these columns carefully, in total the values like 510, 120, they are not unique. Maybe someone today ordered papers for 500 quantity. Tomorrow also someone can order paper for 500 quantity. So there could be two different rows with same value 500, 500. Two different rows with same product name such as paper and paper again. So the same customer could also order the same product, same total quantity again and again, right? So all the column number, product, total, and customer ID, these columns are not unique in their nature. So we need at least one unique identifier in each table. In this case, it is order ID. Order ID 1 will always represent the first row, and it cannot repeat in any other row. It cannot by the nature, right? That's what a primary key is supposed to be. A unique identifier, like your iris, or like your fingerprint, or like your Aadhaar card, which is unique identification method. Similarly, your schema should have a unique identifier in a table. So now comes the concept of foreign key. So there is, in our orders table, there is one column by the name of customer ID. Okay, so customer ID here is known as foreign key. Why? What makes it a foreign key? By the definition, a foreign key is something which creates a linkage, which creates a relationship between other tables, and the relation which it is creating with the other table, it behaves like a primary key over there. This is the simple concept of foreign key. See, there's no trouble understanding these concepts. They are very simple, and you need not worry much about it. This is the only necessary amount of information you should have. Primary key, what is it? It is a unique identifier column. What is a foreign key? A key that maps it to another table where it also serves as a primary key over there. So suppose if I use customer ID and I am able to reach the next table now. Now let us talk about the table at the bottom, the customers table. So the customers table now has ID, first name, last name, age, and things like that, right? So what will happen here is that here now ID is unique. Like for example, ID number one here will strictly represent person John Doe. Okay, or ID number 4 for John Renhard. Okay, so things like this. Whereas first name could be common, it could be repeated multiple times. As it is seen that there are two Johns in this table. There are two people with the same surname as Doe, right? Betty and John have same surname. There could be people with the same age, like for example, Robert and David have same age. People from same country, but ID is unique. So that's again a very good concept to grasp and understand, right? Now we will quickly talk about the now since we have understood the schemas and scalability concepts also, so let us understand some features till this point. I'll talk about these features, but let me talk about where SQL can be used. So SQL can be really useful for querying. For example, if you have to retrieve specific data, I give you an example, right? Stephen King. I want to understand what books I have for Stephen King. This is like a query which I have, right? So, in the linguistic term, if we understand what query means, we understand what querying is. Fair enough, right? So, if I ask that, give me books with less than 100 pages, which are based on SQL, learn SQL, okay, something like that. If I want, I'll map learn SQL in the title and pages to be less than 100, and I'll find books relevant for me in my library. Next thing could be the manipulation. Now, this, of course, should be not given to everyone. Manipulation should be strictly handled by the administrators, right? So, tomorrow, if I am a student in the college, I should not have the authority to go and update that from today. These many books are also available in my library. It's not my library, it's the college library. So, the college should have the manipulation authority, right? But what is manipulation? Manipulation is nothing but we say insert, update, delete, this type of things. Suppose I lost few books in my library, now they are not available, so I should be able to run a delete command so that permanently I am losing these rows from my database. Suppose there are few books which need update. Okay, maybe like earlier I had 10 books on how to learn SQL, but now I have increased that quantity to 20. So I should be able to update that the quantity of this particular book is now not 10, but it is 20. Similarly, I could add a few new books into my library, so I should be able to insert them also, right? So mostly in the database world, we call this manipulation also by the abbreviation of CRUD. Okay, CRUD, create, read, update, delete. Whereas read is available to the larger audience, but see, create, delete, and update are with the administrators, right? There are also certain features like there are certain constraints for data integrity. See, SQL, once you have designed the schema, so your SQL will make sure nothing goes out of the schema. Never it will help you append such things, right? So that's where it comes into the picture, that it is the data's integrity is always maintained. Now there are certain type of transactions that we can do with the SQL, which I've mentioned on our screen. Few basic commands, okay, which we can do. So what happens is that uh, SQL by default has a feature to maintain the integrity in a way. For example, suppose if I have to pay someone, I'm using bank UPIs, okay? So I'm using a scanner, I pay from my app. This money is deducted from my database, right? And now it is supposed to go to the other bank account. What if the other bank account's network is down? In this case, there is a rollback feature that is available in SQL. SQL will never let you update partially done queries. Never ever. uh, it will simply do a rollback that the transaction failed. The amount will be refunded in your account 5 to 7 days. So your database will not be updated until and unless that transaction is complete. It will only update your database in a case where if you have run a query, it has been updated wherever it was supposed to be in each of the point, and only then it will save the next uh, checkpoint for your data, right? So that's also some good features that SQL comes into picture, right? uh, it also has many advanced features, like we can create triggers. For example, I can create a trigger that, suppose if someone logs into my website for the very first time, we call it sign up, right? If someone signs up on my website, automatically my SQL will be able to detect that there is a new event, a specific event that has happened, which is what? Insertion, creation, right? I've inserted a new data value in my database, so I could raise a trigger that send an welcome email, send them an email that thank you for registering with our website, and whatever content it is. Similar could be the triggers for update, okay, for how your banks send you notifications for any amount deducted, right? Suppose I used UPI, I paid an amount. Within a few seconds or a minute, I'll get an SMS on my phone that this transaction has been done. If not, you can raise fraud queries over here, or whatever your current bank account is, this and this. So these triggers can be handled also on the basis of what is happening in the database, certain events. Say if there is an insertion, then run this trigger. If there is an update, run this trigger. If someone is leaving for us, they are deleting their account with us, we can send them, we are sorry to let you go, or we are sad that you're leaving us. Such emails can be triggered with it, right? We can create different dashboards. You see, these days people are using Tableau, Power BI to create dashboards. So the basics of it is that it boils down that if you how good you are with database management, how good do you understand databases, how good you are with writing different queries, for maybe to view certain things, could be manipulation query, uh, and some complex queries to begin with. We will go over this at some other point. So again, I'll repeat that SQL are nothing but commands, recipes, right? How you can combine different ingredients, cooking items, and prepare a final dish. Whereas kitchens are your Postgre, SQL, MySQL, Oracle. These are specific environments with their unique layouts, with their unique brands, with their unique tools, but they follow the principles of SQL in each kitchen. Okay, that's the essence of the SQL. All right. So, okay. So I hope how select, insert, update, delete, primary key, foreign key works. They are pretty clear to you. If there are any doubts, I see the chat section has gone a little stale, right? We can always keep the fun coming in your chat sections. All right. So, well, with that being said, I think the idea is clear. What is SQL versus MySQL? And we can now talk about some real world applications, such as where SQL is used. But I do not want to personally uh, bore my audience, right? I do not want you to lose interest and start daydreaming. We will skip this part. I'll just quickly give you that SQL is important. It is used multiple places: social media, banking, e-commerce, healthcare. Okay, healthcare mein what you can do: patients ka record, staff ka record, and things like that. You already have a very strong mindset, and you are capable enough to understand where the databases could be used, right? Let's skip that. Now we will go and understand basically what is the data, right? So this is very interesting. If for a person who understands Urdu, if you are now talking shairis to these people, then you are in their zone. uh, so similarly, from a statistician point of view, if you want to understand what is data, what is database, then you are into their zone, right? But now, if you are not in that zone, and from that point you're trying to understand what data, it will look boring to you, right? So again, I'll just simply say that in simple words, data is nothing but collection of some distinct information that you can do, right? Could be text, numbers, images, and anything. See, the most globally accepted definition is that anything which can be stored, retrieved, updated, okay, managed, and has some sort of information is data. Okay, that's what it means. So what is database? Database nothing but an organized collection of a tool or software which can help you retrieve this information, manage this information into computer or electronic form, right? That's what a database is supposed to do. So I'll also not invest much time over there. I'll just leave you with this imagination that you know now what data is, what database is. If you need any further interesting depth on theoretical part to help your mind think more about it, you can Google from a statistician point of view what is data and database. Okay, or you can also buy some. Maybe like IGNU University has good free content on statistics. PGDAST is their program. Postgraduate diploma in applied statistics. They have free books available, which also talk about these basic concepts. So again, the idea is there are different type of databases like SQL, NoSQL. So this visualization will help you again imagine. देखो left में there is relational database. So there is a schema design. There are three different tables and how they are interrelated to each other. You can also carefully see that the orange column also maps to the other orange column and green maps to the other green in two different tables. Similarly, NoSQL has no such relational requirement. It is schemaless. It is more natural database. Okay, graph being the more natural one. It represents the real world relations more naturally. Uh, okay. So by now we understand what are tables. By now we understand what are records. Okay, they are pretty straightforward. Now we will understand the different SQL commands and their use case, right? For example, the data definition language, okay, such as create. So create is used to create objects like tables, views, or index. Okay, I can create even views with it, like create a view with books with less than 100 pages only, and then I can create a dashboard for it. But I can create even many things. I can, it is like, you know, a magical wand which can help you spawn things. Example, you are a god who can manage this digital world. Okay, so with this you have the power to create new tables. Okay, so that power is coming with the create. So alter is used to alter the existing structure. Okay, maybe, you know, alter a table. Suppose even god can sometimes make mistakes. If this is something that you believe, then maybe as a developer you can create a table, but then you realize, oh, I forgot one column which was supposed to be there in this database or this table. So which is where I can run the alter command. Okay, alter this table. What was the table name? Suppose alter table customers and add one column by the name of females, which is where the alter command will come into picture. Okay, so these commands are of simple format. Alter table. You can alter many things. So first of all, you have to specify what are you altering. So alter space, you're altering table. Then space the name of the table. Suppose customers is a table name. Then space the add column is again one query language that you can use, and then the column name and the data type that it will hold. Okay, things like that. Drop is again used to drop the table. Suppose I by mistake I created something and now want to simply drop it. So drop table by the name of customers. Okay, you should be very careful while using these commands in production environment. uh, Knowingly or unknowingly, you can cause a lot of damage to the company. Although, do not think that things are such thin layered. There is multiple grade of security backup systems which can help you with the rollback. But trust me, if you want to save your job, you want to definitely save some eagerness to run these commands. By mistake, if you run in production drop, you're dropping this table completely from the production then, right? So that's again some caveats that you should be aware of. Now, again, manipulation, I think we have covered this, how select, insert, update, delete is supposed to work. Then the control is where I told you, right? Okay, in a library management system, not everyone should have the authority to manage or manipulate your data, right? Insert, update, delete is not something which should be available to the students, right? So, which is where I can, as an admin, as someone who owns that college, the trustee or the principal, or could be the head of the department, I can grant or revoke certain accesses. We can have hierarchy of people in this schema, right? And this is very common in any ecosystem. You can follow this trend, right? That certain uh, in any industry there is like a junior, there's an intern. So interns come under juniors, junior come under seniors, seniors have their, depending on how deep your hierarchy is, could be like your team lead, could be your project lead, your reporting managers, then could be the associates, then could be the GMs, and so on, CTOs, CEOs. Okay, so everyone has a level of access. So this managing and revoking this access is also handled by the control language. For example, uh, grant certain privileges. We can use grant user one the permission to read. So I'll have to create grant, select on which table, on customers, to what, to user one, something like that, or maybe the name of the user which you have. Suppose today someone is leaving the job, so we need to revoke their access. Revoke, select on customers table for user one because they are moving out. Again, these are some very uh, critical decisions which are made by database administrators. If you are seeking that kind of job, this is very important to understand that as a DB admin for a company, you need to make sure that the access are currently managed. People have the right amount of the access to your database. You are uh, you are swift enough to revoke the access in case of any event, such as person is leaving the company, person is leaving the project, person is on XYZ reason. Okay, so then there could be the transaction control language, which I told you, transactions are nothing but these events that we do, right? Certain type of commitment that we do, like whatever queries we are running, we can save a checkpoint, we can roll back. Okay, these are certain features. So rollback undoes all the changes which are made within a transaction. Suppose if we are paying someone and the payment fails, then we will use rollback, and rollback will happen in certain amount of time. Suppose if the changes are done, then we will use commit. The commit these changes, it is, the transaction is permanent now. uh, we can also use save points to temporarily create temporary checkpoints, and we can partially roll back to those specific points in certain amount of transaction, right? For example, there could be steps in the transaction. Payment is deducted from my bank account, create a checkpoint over here, save point. Payment has received the merchant, create a save point over here. Payment has now received to the seller. Now whether you create a checkpoint or you simply commit over here, so there could be some temporary save points also which you can make. So these are transaction control language, again, which is not commonly useful to the developers, uh, until and unless you are working on that domain. Mostly developers should know the manipulation control and the definition language, right? If you are working around that, but as a DB admin, I think everything is much important for you. Now, from where do I bring this? I bring it from my personal career experience, that mostly I have been working with the DML and DCL commands a lot. I in fact do not even create the tables, but in recent few projects I have been given the responsibilities to even design schema. So that's a different thing. But from a junior to a senior role, I think those are much more coming from a DB admin perspective. All right. Now, by this point, I'll assume that you were all behaving like the ideal students or the ideal audience who might have uh, downloaded this file by now, right? Uh, but I have enough amount of patience by teaching all sort of people. So I'll expect that there should be few people like me who will still say, "Sir, I am not able to download it," right? And don't worry, this is the way. It's really interesting and funny that how people behave in different ways. But again, if you have successfully downloaded it, let us just go to this exe file. If not, I'll just repeat one last time that there is a link in the description. It is provided in all-in-one documents, the path from where you can install MySQL. Now we are installing something physically which will help us work locally. And as promised, I'll also give you alternatives to it. So let me just quickly start with the installation. Now, how is installation happening? Simply, it's an .exe file. Just double click on it. It will ask you for certain admin privileges. Just simply click yes. Now the MySQL installer has started. Now this is where I'll show some patience. This is where you will show some activeness in your chats. First of all, the last chat has been so stagnant, where Piyush here has commented a meaning of schema. And from that point, I'm getting no response. Students, if you are alive, if I'm talking to real people, let me know that, okay? Meanwhile, I'll start with this installation process. We have reached to the point where I just double clicked on this executable, and this is where I have reached. Okay. Now, if it is asking me, please select the setup type that suits you. Now, usually what I will say is, if you do not want to put a lot of head, you can simply click on full. Okay. Uh, if you select different versions, suppose if I select server only, you'll be able to see in the right what it's going to install. So this will only install the MySQL server. This should be used when you want to deploy MySQL server, but will not be developing on MySQL applications. So client only, I think will not even need it. It will install the router and the workbench and the shell. Okay, we don't need it. We are not the client side. Okay, now, basically we can use full. Full will do both server and client setup, and custom could be where you can select whatever you want to do. Simply go on full if you are not tightly bound on your storage, but I think this should be the most ideal way to do it. So if you click on full, I'll click on next students and I'll patiently wait for you. We do not mind if we take 5-10 minutes to complete this, but I just want everyone to be with me. You can click on next, you can proceed. So once we click on next, it is now asking me what type of installations do I need to do. So previously I had installed a MySQL server. So it is showing that this path already exists. But okay, it's fine. I do not care. These are still just two warnings, right? So I'll just click on next. It is okay if this you still have warnings with selected path. Do you want to continue? Yeah, it's okay. I'll just run on that part. This warning will not come to you if you are installing SQL for the very first time. And the reason for that being you are installing for the very first time. There's no such path in your system. Now it will ask me that it will not basically ask me, it will tell me what is the sequence in which it is going to install the complete things, right? So mostly we just need the SQL server. SQL Workbench is like again an IDE where you can work around. Like it's a graphical interface. It's a very cool interface to work with and visualize your data. It's like if you know about PyCharm or VS Code, they are like development environments where you can write programming code. So Workbench can help you use a little bit of GUI and do the SQL querying. Okay. So with that being said, I'll simply click on the execute, and once we click on it, it will take some time now. This is a very good way, good opportunity for all of you to ask me doubts, be it related to this bootcamp, be it related to career or anything, right? I am totally available. Meanwhile, we are completing the installation. If there are any questions that someone would want to ask. And if you have any difficulty also, you can put it in the chat that if you're not able to find this link correctly, if the installation is not happening for you correctly, I'll guide you much better in depth. Maybe we can do that. All right, let me just check if the chats are working for me. I'll just quickly go to the live chat. Okay, sorry, I think my chats were not being live for a moment. All right. uh, all right. Yeah. So I think people were asking about Alter and Grant. I think we have covered those parts. Yes, I think Pankaj also explained it correctly in the chat somewhere. Yes. So the timings of the next 2 days would be the same as today. Yes, sir. Give me project ideas to get job. Okay. What type of job do you want? Kathiravan, you can explain that. So what type of questions will be faced during interview? Uh, if you're talking from the SQL perspective, I assume students you can write in more depth. Okay, I will assume it's a SQL perspective. You are asking what type of questions will come. It will be more related to the tables, the joints, the inner joint, right joint, left joint, this type of things. If you're talking taking from a backend developer, the questions would be mostly for your programming language. SQL, if at all there is any question of it, it will be simply about the joints, like and certain commands like alter, update, delete. What is the difference between them? Okay, what is create command used for? Or, maybe you will be asked to write some SQL queries. Okay, that this is a question, create a query around it. So this type of questions will come in. Hmm. Data analyst job, you will be mostly asked to uh, do certain question answering. For data analyst jobs and for backend developers, I have planned a very nice set of questions that we will be following on day 3. So day 3 is very important. Students, take it from me, the amount of satisfaction you will have on day 3 is the pinnacle. Okay, it will be the best of this series because day 3 is completely hands on. Starting from the first minute to the last minute, we'll be only solving queries. So that's more like where we will cover. Yes, full stack developers do need to know SQL because full stack should cover backend. So backend people are pretty much they should know SQL. And there is a I don't know if there is a notion going around that people should be masters of SQL. I think if you know the basics of SQL, even that is fine for entry point. Okay. Uh, Yes, yes, of course. If you have SQLite application, if you have any environment, uh, you can go over there. So MH3D is asking what about Ubuntu users? Please check all-in-one documentation. You can follow the direct CMD commands to install this. If not, I've also shown you. I'll just quickly show you once again from this link that if you follow this link, which is in fact given to you in the descriptions of this video, it is also given to you in the all-in-one document. You just need to drop down and select your Ubuntu over here. Okay. Once you do that, you will get the DEV package, which can be directly installed. Okay. So that is for the Ubuntu users. Hmm. Uh, okay, Alia is asking few questions. Okay, can I go for more on stack development? Of course you can. There is no stoppage to it. In fact, Alia, you will be interested to know that even I come from a non-tech background. So there is no limitation. This is a myth that you need to have a degree in the computer science to enter the field of computer science, whereas it has become more like a skill based industry. If you know the skill, if you have the skill, there's no limitation to your educational background. uh, okay, how SQL is used in data analytics for, so I explained you, right? There could be certain questions that could help me derive certain values. Like if I want to understand that what is the average amount of money that my audience is ready to spend, I can get it from SQL query. What is the most common product that I am selling on my website? I can get it to SQL query, right? So you see certain questions which are important from data analysis point of view are nothing but query languages which you can run in SQL, right? So I think uh, Venkatesan, I think I handled your doubt that way, that how SQL is used in data analysis. I've already downloaded custom setup. Is it fine? If you know what you're doing, custom setup is fine. Okay. If you are a new user, go with the full setup. Okay. Can I use MySQL in React applications? MySQL can be used in all sort of programming languages. It has a very wide support actually. So yes, you can. Now, okay, is there any book that I can go through while learning? Honestly, this is something that we can look around, but I believe that for SQL, you can follow more of the tutorials which are available on the browsers, right? Just search SQL practice questions or SQL course. There are so many platforms which can help you with. You won't even need the uh, book. So I have covered exam previously. Okay, I'll not repeat that again. Now once I've finished it, I'll just simply click on next. I'll click on next, and now this is where type and networking will come to picture. Nothing important to me. I'll click next. So use strong encryption password for authentication. This is very important step that everyone should follow. The steps here are that I should create a password, and I have to keep this password uh, strong and easy at the same time. You should not forget it. I'll recommend just simply write it somewhere. Okay, you can check if the password is valid. Okay, if it is valid, yeah, fair to go with it. Okay, so make sure it has one uh, special character, one uppercase, some numbers, some names. Okay, something like that. And once you've created that, this password will be much needed for you. Okay, now configure MySQL servers on Windows service. I think this is fine. MySQL, it is the server name. You can change it. Start MySQL server at system startup. If you click it only if your system is powerful enough. For the laptops which are already running with the lag, you are facing a lot of hanging issues, your boot time is high, you can avoid it, because it will put more impact when your system will start. Okay, now once this is done, configuring steps, and you don't need to do anything, just simply execute this part. Okay, what will do if I forget password? Well, then you will have to completely reset the server for with the new password. So in data analytics, what are the main subjects we have to learn? And data analytics, I think SQL is your main food for data analytics. So SQL, no SQL, you should do projects with both of them. Statistics is something that you cannot miss. Probability statistics is something data analytics is all about. See, people confuse a lot between data science and data analyst. Okay, so data analyst, even if you don't know much of machine learning, if you know about Excel, spreadsheets, Tableau, uh, uh, data visualization, data manipulation, creation, pre-processing, which is where I think data analytics is all about. So Rahu is asking, so do you watch anime? Yes, I am a big anime fan. uh, there are many series that I have seen in the anime, and yes, of course. This is something that is a compliment that I'll take it with pride, that you are a newbie friendly, sir. Oh, yes, of course. And I like to keep it that way. I would never want to uh, have that vibe where uh, there is a professor coming into the class and you're still into a school or a college. And I don't want that. I want more like friendly people, because today you are a student, 2 years from now you will be colleagues to me, you will be also working in the IT industry the way I am. So would like to retain that. So once this configuration is completed, we can just simply click on finish. We can, okay, so the product configuration, you can simply uh, skip this part. It is nothing but where where the port will fire, like 3306 is where your port will be opened, read writes on SQL. These are completely fine. You can simply click on finish, you can click on next. Now this is where it will ask you for the password which you have created. So let me just enter that. I'll check once. Connection succeeded, which means my password was correct. And just execute these steps. Okay, check if there's any features installed that need configuration. Nothing. So I should get this message at the end that the configuration of samples was successful. Click finish to continue. If I finish now, the other product will install. You see, we went for the full installation, so it will completely install everything and start MySQL shell after startup. Start workbench. Okay, you can untick them. It will simply just start two new windows for you, which is this terminal, which I'll anyways close. Okay, now with that being said, I think we have covered the installing part. Now, as mentioned, okay, and it will also open up the workbench, which is a little heavy to load. It will take some time. Now, by default, the workbench is a GUI where you can connect to different databases. So if I need to connect to any database, I'll just simply click on this plus. I can add the connection name and the host name. Okay, so if you are connected through some VPNs, you can also go through your company server or whatever methodology your company will follow. Mostly companies will use a server where you will have a username. You can store the password like the port and the host name is something that you will need to which database do you want to connect. We 120.0.1 336.06, this port during the installation also we saw is our local port, and by default it is connected over here, localhost 3306. So you can click over here and connect to this database. Okay, now I'll just simply close everything. I'll Since you know this is a newbie friendly zone, I'll repeat once again. See, clicking on workbench will give you a window like this. I've explained you basically what are the few things that you need to understand is one is the migration logo. In the left side there are three different logos, one with the three tables, one with the dolphin, and one with the arrow. So the arrow one is all about the migration scripts, how you can migrate. Don't want to go there. The the three table logo is all about your schemas. I told you, right? We can design schemas by clicking on plus. You will be able to add more schemas. Okay, add tables into it, add views and things like that. I told you, right? You can create certain routines, you can write some scripts, but we are this is not the agenda of this series, right? The agenda is to just understand how SQL works. We will go back. Welcome to SQL Workbench on this dolphin logo, where you'll be able to connect to some local instances. So by default, SQL gives you few databases like Sakila, SYS, and World. Okay, so and by default it comes with certain predefined data just to help you learn few things on your own. So in the left tab is the schema tab, where I can open up a database. I can look into the tables. For example, if I double click on the actors, it will show me how many columns it has. Okay, and if we can view those. So for now I think we will put the rest over there. This is how the workbench is supposed to look like. Now I'll close my workbench. I'll get you back to the next link, which is practice SQL online. See, which is where I tell you that to become a good developer, you need not have a very strong PC to begin with. Even if you have Core to Duo or i3 or even a basic Pentium processors, no issues. You can simply shift to a browser, and you can simply go to this website which I've given you, right? www.sql-practice.com. Okay, once you go here, it is a very simple website, no login, no sign up needed. Okay, simply in the drop down you have two different test databases which you can use, and you can this is a text editor right over here. Okay, you can simply select delete it, and this is where you can write your query. Okay, now even in this free text while I'm typing, you will see by default is where query, these three terms. Okay, is where and query, these three terms have been written by default in caps. So many people have a notion that SQL works is a case sensitive language. It's not like that. uh, it is just done in caps so that you will have visually a good understanding. Okay, there are some commands, built-in commands which I'm using, right? So is where query are your built-in keywords, whereas anything other is not relevant to it. Yes. Can I do it in mobile? I don't have a laptop. Yes, of course, Shivani. You can go to sql-practice.com and go to this website. This website should also be able to open up in your phone, and from the phone you can write your queries here, and also click on this run selection or the run. Okay, so run selection is when you have multiple lines. Okay, so this is line 2, this is line 3, this is line 4. Okay, this is line 1. So if I only want to run line 1, I'll select line 1, then it will be saying run selection. But if I remove my highlight, it will say run, through which I can run throughout this whatever query I'm writing, right? So that's the primary agenda of understanding how SQL is supposed to work. Okay, now I'll again just open up my workbench. So okay, we are able to reach here. So all right, there are certain tables. Perfect. Doctors. So if I click on this table button, in the GUI, it opens up the table for me. For example, suppose we will go to the medical DB for an example. Okay, this DB is not available in your database. Let me be very clear that the installation that I have made you do not have medical DB to begin with. I'll help you create this DB tomorrow. But for now, I just want you to understand that any database, if you drop down, suppose if we go to SYS, let's keep something which is common to all of us, right? If we go to world, you'll be able to see tables. In the tables, you'll be able to see different table names such as city, country, and country language. Okay, so if I click on city, you see there are three options over here. One with the I, which is the information. If you click on it, you will be able to see that the database name is world.city is the table name, and who created it and some information about it. The other is the setting button. If I click on it, well, it takes a time to load in, and this is where the column name, data type, and these settings are available to me. I can make few things as primary key or unsigned, not null, things like that, but I am not editing it for now. Again, if I click on the third option, which is like that table with that thunder strike on it, which is where it will load me the actual DB in the visualization manner, right? And you see by default it is return one query for me, through which it is doing it. Let me remove this query. Okay, I'll do control X, and you see on this tab, city tab, I'll close it once again for you. I'll tell you once again what I'm doing. In the left there is a schema tab. Okay, uh, so even in the views you can see what type of panels do you need. Okay, by default you should have a schema tab over here. Okay, so if I have a schema tab, I'll just simply click on the DB. I'll click on the tables. In the tables I have different table names. Suppose I want to visualize city, I'll just simply click over here, and this should give me the output. Now this tab which I have over here, this blue colored city tab, you will see that it has one line which is executing. Let me cut this line. Okay, and there is one logo by the name of thunder. Okay, the yellow thunder logo, which executes the selected portion. Let me just run this code once. Okay, let me do control A and run it. Okay, it's not doing anything. Let me just write this comment once again. So suppose if I have to retrieve everything from this world.city database, this is the command which we can use. Now, do not worry about the commands, how to write them. We will take them one thing at a time. But select command is used to select whatever we want to select. So understand the format, what it means to say. Select asterisk means everything. This is the keyword that you can use. Can you zoom in the area where you write the commands? Okay, I'll try to zoom in. Let me know if this zooming is decent enough for now. Okay, so select is the command which we will use, and asterisk is something for everything. From where? Select everything from where. So from world is a database name. I'll mention over here. Uh, Basically, what we're trying to do is we are trying to say select. We are trying to say everything, which is what asterisk means. From where? So from, we will see the database name. Okay, dot the collection name. So this is the format which we are following in the line number 1. Okay, so that's the idea of how it is supposed to work. Suppose if I change this command to country, country is yet another table that I have, right? And when I try to run it, you see now everything is updated in the bottom. There is a new grid with the information in the country. Suppose if I only want to see different regions, so I can type over here, select region uh, from the world dot country, and you see now I'm only getting regions. Okay, so I'll go back to a strict, like every column, everything from the country, which is what I told you. You will be really interesting. It will be really interesting for you to join in tomorrow and day after. In fact, day 3, day 2 will be all about learning the different join commands and doing all sort of easy, medium, and hard levels of querying practices. Yes, so tomorrow is the practical implementation. Not only tomorrow, tomorrow and day after is full marathon of implementation only. So stay tuned for that. I think for now, this is the amount of syllabus that we intended to cover in the day one, and I'm happy that we are able to cover it 5 minutes prior to 8 p.m. Uh, Now, the agenda for tomorrow is I'll help you create a database. I'll help you uh, use the create command to create a new database, to add a table into it, how to add values into it. Okay, and then we will learn few querying over it. We will learn few more advanced things such as joining tables, managing how the foreign keys concepts can be used, right? So yes, that's all about for now. If you have any doubts, more than happy to help you with it. Okay, so let me see if there are any chats which are available. Okay, does a fresher in SQL get a job on just SQL basis? What is a starting salary? To be very honest, do not expect that just by learning the basics of SQL commands you will get a job. Even if you have to do a job as a DB admin or uh, administrator jobs, it will take much more than just learning SQL. I think you will have to learn how networks work, client server architecture, what it is. You can take notes of it if you want. Client server architecture, how web works. This is something that you have to carefully understand. Now, the best part about it is that Let's Upgrade timely from time to time keeps on uh, creating these free workshops for you or free boot camps for you, right? So that's really important that you keep on consuming as much as free amount of source that you can. But focusing back on your question, you'll have to understand how web and internet works. You will have to understand how the client server architecture works. You will have to understand some aspects of securities, some more depth on SQL, right? Not what a bootcamp can cover for you. If you go into the depth of how DB admin roles work, then yes, you can get a job on that basis also. Sir, how to become a digital marketer? Okay, so digital marketer is completely out of the context, but again, it is a different field, right? It comes into the concept of marketing. Okay, it's not the premise of a developer. So to become a digital marketing specialist, you will have to understand how campaigns work, how advertisements are done. You'll have to understand how content writing works. You will have to understand how the SEO optimization can work, what are certain keywords, how to do web ranking. These are a few things that you will have to come into the as of that aspect. Okay. Uh, do not for now think about how to get a job abroad in SQL. For now, think about how you can get a job in SQL. How much salary can we expect for data analyst as a role of a fresher? Data analyst as a role of a fresher completely depends. I've seen people even getting a package of 3.5 lakhs per annum, which is like 15 20,000. I've seen people do free internships if they're not finding jobs. I've seen people also start with 40 50 60,000 package, but you should not worry about it. You should worry about getting the job first. Do not run behind salary at all is my suggestion to you if you are a fresher. In fact, you should drop some higher packages for lower packages if given that you will be able to learn more in these lower packages. Choose the company, do not choose the package. That's what I'm trying to say. Sir, for business analytics, what are the main subjects? I've covered that. You can just repeat that. Okay, the video. Concepts to study help in data analysis, I've covered that. What kind of tools are important for data analyst? Okay, since this is the most booming question, let me repeat that. See, first of all, data analyst, you should know how the database works. SQL, no SQL, learn it. You have to be good at statistics, probability. Okay, you can do even for free if you want. I'll repeat. There is postgraduate diploma in applied statistics. PGDAST is a course name for IGNOU University. Mm, E-Gyan Kosh Kendra is the website name. If you want, I'll just quickly also take you over there if needed. E-Gyan Kosh Kendra. PGDAST. So this is it, right? Egan Koshkadar. Okay, there's some internal server error, but let me just go one step beyond. Okay, never mind. I think this link is dead. We will go to the other link. Yes, this is the link. 444 MB is the zip for. Okay, it just downloaded the file for me. This is the study material that you can follow for probability and statistics if you want to become a data analyst. This is more than sufficient. Okay, can you cover some popular lead code problems? Uh, sure, I'll try if my curriculum permits me. I'll try to see that, but I'll make sure there are some good challenges that you will be solving as a fresher. Okay. That's for now. I think I'll say tata bye bye to all of you. It's 8 p.m. I'll see you all tomorrow. Be on time, 6:30 p.m. Right? All right. Thank you, everyone. Looking forward to connect tomorrow. Bye bye.